At 89, Robert Redford finally talks about Paul Newman. Robert Redford was born Charles Robert Redford Jr. on August 18, 1936, in Santa Monica, California. He grew up in a regular family. His mom, Martha Hart, was a freelance artist who drew pictures for ads and taught him to love art and beauty. His dad, Charles Robert Redford, Sr., worked as a scientist in a lab, which helped keep Robert grounded and balanced out his creative side. Growing up in Southern California, Robert got to see the cool culture there and all the Hollywood glamour, which planted the first ideas in his head about maybe becoming an actor or filmmaker someday. Robert's school days and early experiences were really important, too. He went to Van Nuys High School where he got interested in drama and acting. He joined school plays and tried different ways to be creative. After high school, he went to the University of Colorado first to study architecture, which shows he was curious about lots of different things. But his love for the arts was stronger, so he left architecture behind and decided to focus on acting instead. He went to study at the American Academy of Dramatic Arts in New York City, which was a really fancy acting school that gave him serious training and introduced him to teachers who saw he had natural talent and could be something special. Robert's acting career started taking off in the late 1950s and early 1960s with TV shows and small movie parts. But it was in the late 1960s and 1970s that he became a real Hollywood superstar. His big break came in Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid in 1969, where he starred with Paul Newman. This movie totally captured people's attention and made him famous as a charming leading man who was both tough and classy at the same time. Robert's role as the Sundance Kid wasn't just loved by critics, it also changed culture. He represented a new kind of American hero who was rebellious, thoughtful, and charming all at once. His next movies like The Sting in 1973, All the President's Men in 1976, and Out of Africa in 1985 showed he could play many different types of characters. He proved he could handle action movies, dramas, romance, and political thrillers, basically anything you threw at him. But Robert Redford isn't just known for acting. He's also famous as a creative filmmaker and someone who really supports independent movies. In 1980, he started the Sundance Institute, which is a nonprofit organization that helps independent filmmakers and finds new talent. This led to the Sundance Film Festival, which became the most important place in the world for independent films. It has helped launch the careers of tons of directors, actors, and writers. Robert's dedication to creative freedom and new ways of storytelling completely changed American movies. He made sure that new voices could challenge the usual stories and bring fresh ideas to audiences. Besides his work at Sundance, Robert also directed and produced several acclaimed films, including Ordinary People in 1980, which won the Academy Award for Best Picture and got him nominated for Best Director. This really proved he was an artist who could create great stories and also shape the movie industry itself. In the mid-1980s, Robert Redford kept building his reputation as one of Hollywood's most talented and interesting actors. During this time, he starred in great movies like The Natural in 1984, a sports drama where Robert showed he could be both charming and emotionally deep. He played Roy Hobbs, a baseball player who was talented and vulnerable with an almost magical quality that really connected with people. Around the same time, he was in Out of Africa in 1985, a big romantic movie based on Karen Blixen's memoir. This showed that Robert could play complicated characters in rich, beautiful stories. Besides acting, Robert also started getting more interested in directing movies. You could see this with The Milagro Beanfield War in 1988, a film he directed based on John Nichols's book. This let him combine his artistic vision with stories that had important social messages. In this project, Robert told a story about community, corruption, and cultural identity, proving that his talents went way beyond just acting. He had a smart, observational style as a director. In 1992, Robert really proved he was a skilled director with A River Runs Through It, a critically praised family drama about family bonds, personal loss, and the quiet beauty of nature. It starred Brad Pitt and Craig Sheffer. This movie let Robert blend poetic camera work with personal storytelling. It showed he could get powerful performances from young actors while keeping a thoughtful, almost poetic feeling throughout. Critics widely praised his directing for being sensitive and artistic, which reinforced that Robert wasn't just a screen icon, but also a filmmaker who could create deeply moving movie experiences. 2 years later, in 1994, Robert directed Quiz Show, a project that showed his strong interest in American history and moral complexity. The film looked at the 1950s quiz show scandals where popular TV programs were rigged to get higher ratings. It offered a sharp criticism of media ethics, corporate influence, and how the public lost trust in institutions by tackling such a controversial and intellectually challenging subject. Robert showed he was willing to face complex social issues through movies. He also showed his skill in balancing dramatic tension, character development, and historical accuracy. Robert continued to work as both an actor and director throughout the late 1990s. In 1998, he both starred in and directed The Horse Whisperer, a film that combined a deeply emotional story with stunning cinematography of the American West. The story focused on healing, both human and horse, and let Robert explore themes of trauma, recovery, and how nature can restore people. His work on this project showed his unique ability to direct himself while keeping the story together and emotionally real. This further proved his reputation as a filmmaker with exceptional insight and sensitivity. In the 2000s, Robert stayed active both in front of and behind the camera. He starred in the 2007 political drama Lions for Lambs, playing a university professor in a story that looked at how politics, media, and personal responsibility intersect. While acting in this project, Robert continued to show his lasting charisma and presence. In 2011, he went back to directing with The Conspirator, a historical drama focused on Mary Surratt and what happened after Abraham Lincoln's assassination. This reflected his continuing interest in moral complexity, justice, and historical stories. The following year, he combined his two talents again in The Company You Keep in 2012, a film starring Shia LaBeouf. In this movie, Robert both directed and appeared, skillfully handling themes of political activism, secrecy, and personal responsibility. This proved that even decades into his career, he remained a dynamic, multifaceted force in Hollywood. On August 9, 1958, Robert Redford married Lola Van Wagenen in a private ceremony in Las Vegas, Nevada. This marked the beginning of a long and complicated personal partnership that would last for decades. Choosing Las Vegas for the wedding showed they wanted relative privacy and the practical ease of the city's wedding facilities, which were already famous for being efficient and discreet even in the 1950s. To celebrate with family and friends in a more intimate and traditional setting, they had a second reception at Lola's grandmother's house on September 12th of the same year. This allowed their close relatives to join in the happy occasion and create special memories. Together, Robert and Van Wagenen had 4 children, each with their own unique life story and connection to their father. Their first child, Scott Anthony Redford, was born on September 1, 1959, but sadly died at just 2.5 months old on November 17, 1959, from sudden infant death syndrome. Scott was buried at Provo City Cemetery in Provo, Utah, leaving a lasting mark of sadness and tenderness on Robert and Van Wagenen's lives. Their second child, Shauna Jean Redford, was born on November 15, 1960. She grew up to become a talented painter, showing the same creative instincts as her father. Shauna later married journalist and author Eric Schlosser, forming a partnership based on intellectual and cultural interests. David James Redford was born on May 5, 1962. He chose a career in writing and film production, following in his father's footsteps by contributing to the creative world behind the camera. Sadly, James died on October 16, 2020, leaving behind a legacy of storytelling and artistic dedication. Their youngest child, Amy Hart Redford, was born on October 22, 1970. She embraced a career with many parts in the entertainment industry as an actress, director, and producer, further extending the Redford family's influence in film and theater. Together, the Redfords have 7 grandchildren, each representing the continuation of the family line and Robert Redford's personal and creative legacy. Although Robert and Van Wagenen were deeply connected through their children and shared experiences, their romantic relationship gradually drifted apart over the years. Neither Robert nor Van Wagenen ever publicly confirmed a formal separation or divorce, keeping their evolving relationship private. However, in 1982, the well-known entertainment columnist Shirley Eder reported that the couple had been very much apart for a number of years. This indicated that the marriage had effectively ended personally, even if it wasn't legally finalized. Nearly a decade later, Parade magazine reflected the confusion about their marital status, saying in 1991, "It is unclear whether the divorce has been finalized." This highlighted the couple's continuing privacy and discretion about personal matters, despite Robert's public fame. On July 11, 2009, Robert Redford entered a new chapter of his personal life when he married his longtime girlfriend, Sibylle Sagars, in a ceremony at the prestigious Louis C. Jacob Hotel in Hamburg, Germany. Sagars, an accomplished artist herself, had moved in with Robert in 1996, sharing his home in Sundance, Utah, and becoming an important part of his personal and creative life. Their union showed a mature partnership built on mutual respect, shared interests in art and culture, and a deep understanding of each other's lives shaped by decades of experience and previous relationships. This marriage, later in Robert's life, emphasized his continuing desire for companionship, love, and stability. It further highlighted the human side behind his public image as a legendary actor, director, and philanthropist. At the age of 89, Robert Redford, one of Hollywood's most lasting and iconic figures, finally opened up about his decades-long friendship and professional partnership with the legendary actor Paul Newman. Robert's thoughts offer a rare and intimate look into how deep their bond was, a connection that went far beyond just movies. In his comments, Robert didn't hold back, speaking honestly and with the kind of insight that only comes from a lifetime of shared experiences and mutual respect. Paul was the kind of person who made everyone around him better, Robert said, remembering the effortless charisma and humility that Newman had both on and off camera. He described how even when Newman was at the height of fame, he never let success cloud his sense of humanity or generosity. Robert's words show not just admiration, but a deep personal affection that speaks to the rare kind of friendship formed under Hollywood's pressures and the collaborative world of filmmaking. Robert also thought about the unique dynamics of their professional work together. "We had this unspoken understanding on set," he explained, describing how their mutual respect allowed them to push each other creatively while maintaining a light-hearted friendship that made long shooting days feel easy. He remembered the countless hours they spent discussing character motivations, improvising scenes, and challenging each other to make better performances, not for awards but for the love of the craft itself. These memories show the deep artistic connection that made their collaborations not only commercially successful but also critically respected. Beyond work, Robert spoke of the personal impact Newman had on his life. He was more than a friend. He was like a brother, he revealed, touching on the personal support, advice, and quiet encouragement that defined their decades-long relationship. Robert's words suggest that their bond was a rare mixture of friendship, mentorship, and mutual understanding, the kind of friendship that goes beyond ordinary social connections and leaves a lasting mark on someone's life. Finally, Robert expressed gratitude and nostalgia. Emphasizing how Newman's influence extended far beyond their own lives and careers, "Paul taught me that success is measured by kindness, integrity, and the impact you have on people," Robert said, showing how Newman's legacy is not only about movies, but deeply human. By opening up at this late stage in life, Robert has given fans, historians, and fellow actors a treasured window into the life of one of Hollywood's greatest duos. It's a testimony to friendship, artistry, and lasting respect that continues to resonate decades after their first shared scene.